American half pound of sweet pure beef patty, lettuce, tomato.
Singles going steady.
This is Singles Going Steady, the podcast dedicated to exploring great singles with a particular eye to the punk, new wave, and DIY eras of the last century. I'm Steve McGowan.
I'm Adrienne Meddock. We're in a band, the Beef People, who released a single in 1986 on our own label, Sub Records. But we're also record collectors and passionate, especially about the expression of pop music perfection that is the single recording. Exploring the mystery of what makes for a great single is what propelled us to begin this podcast. And who are we going steady with today?
We have another band that is roughly in the era we were in, a little before us.
Right, and I think they called it quits right as we began.
Yes, this is a band from Durham,
A lot
North
of people
Carolina.
gave up when we began, I guess.
Yes, yeah. The band is called the X-Teens. And the single we're going to listen to today is called Nothing Left to Say with the B-side Anyone Can.
I think I've got it. I think if Anyone Can, they had as the A-side.
Yeah, well,
maybe it's a double A-side.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll look at it and see.
Yeah. But anyway, they're both great songs.
Yeah.
So the X-Teens were from Durham. They were a little bit older than us. Definitely had a new wave bent. You could tell they had listened to Elvis Costello and the Talking Heads and
B-52s.
Yes, definitely. Very fun band, very inventive.
Maybe is it a lot of the stiff artists.
Yes.
Laney Lovitch.
A lot of the sort of things we were totally into as well.
Yeah.
They absorbed them through maybe a little bit of an older filter.
Yeah.
And the single was put out in 1982, and it was produced by Don Dixon with Mitch Easter at Mitch's drive-in studio. So they have the recording cred right away.
Yeah.
It's a great sounding single, and I think we'll go ahead and listen to the first song.
Yeah. Which one? Now that I'm mixing it up.
Even though we're arguing about which is they and the B-side, we're going to listen to Nothing Left to Say by the X-Teens, 1982.
And we'll slip the record out and see what they say.
Okay, here we go.
Say I love you as I struggle for the feelings that I have here deep inside. There's nothing I can hide once I say I love you.
And one of the things, the X-Teens were probably my favorite local band. Even though Durham seemed like, especially someone without a car in college in Chapel Hill, Durham was definitely a remote and exotic location.
A million miles away.
Pardon?
Like a million miles away,
Yeah, it
right?
could have been a million miles away. But every time they played, I tried to see them. Anytime they played, that was near the U bus that I could get to from campus, I saw them. And they were just a tremendous live band.
Yeah.
Energetic, humorous, and, just a great show.
Self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating, even the name X-Teens.
I know.
That was kind of a winking. I just appreciated the hell out of them. They were a great band.
I think I saw them twice with you, and they were definitely an inspiration. It was kind of like a different version of seeing like a band like the Swimming Pool Q's.
Yeah.
People who are a little older than us and doing really inventive, really cool music that was totally original. And local.
They didn't sound like anybody.
Right,
I mean,
right.
they certainly could pick out the references, but they made it their own.
Yes.
And another thing that was unique about them is they incorporated a computer. And a computer was a pretty exotic thing in the early 80s.
Yes.
And, I think that part of that was being... I don't want to use the term grown up, but I'm going to use it. That they were actual, working people, with
they understood how things work.
Right. and I think that they were associated with Duke. Many of them were associated, maybe still associated there. So had that access to a computer and understood, how to add the computer into really as a member of the band.
Yes.
And the operator as a member of the band.
They would, didn't they do some kind of local show?
Yeah. One of the things that we like to talk about in our episodes is sort of like what it was like back then. And, in the early 80s, TV was very different. There were a lot of local productions.
There weren't a million channels either.
There was, Nickelodeon was it might not even have been
I don't think it was,
so it was either brand new and most people didn't have cable. Very few, people were just getting cable. So children's entertainment was quite often locally produced, and it was very limited. You had some local programs that would come on in the afternoon. So this was after-school programming. And there was one of the local channels had a show, Barney's Army, with a very primitive animated figure. He was very much like, if anybody remembers Fred on Channel 1 on Captain Kangaroo, Barney was like the cousin of that. So you've got this
his poorly drawn cousin.
Yes, and he was that himself. But again, this sort of primitive blob that was roughly anthropomorphic, and that was Barney. And there was Barney's Army show that had some live features, and one of those live features was a performance by the X-Teens doing Anyone Can, and that's why we were, getting back to like which one's the A side, which one's the B side. We can say definitively that they have labeled Nothing You Can Do as the A side, but
the facts are in, kids.
Yeah, they are, and we are a fact-based podcast, at least when we can be. And I remember it was a big deal that a local band was going to be featured on this
show.
Local show. And, the local free papers, it's coming up, it's going to be on this date. And, there were VCRs, but there's certainly, no way, there was no internet where you could go back and view it on YouTube, right? So if you wanted to see it, you had to
watch it
at the appointed time as it came into your home via the airwaves.
You had basically one chance,
right? And I'm pretty sure I didn't. I did not have a TV in college, so I had to find a TV, put it in my appointment book to, make sure that I would be able to view it. I remember making an appointment to watch them.
Appointment TV.
It was literally appointment TV. But that was very cool. That was a great. Can't imagine what it would have been like to be an 8-year-old and have this exciting thing come at you, all the color and noise and exuberance that was the X-Teens. But it was exciting for me, and and not an 8-year-old.
We actually found this clip on YouTube, didn't we?
Yeah, and we'll post it in the
link to
links.
it. Yeah, so you can watch what Adrienne saw back in the 80s.
Get a fruit roll-up and a juice box, and you can... Although I don't think there were fruit roll-ups and juice boxes back in the day. Those might be a little later.
Just get an orange.
Innovation. Yeah, an orange. Kids, don't use the stove. Don't use the stove till I'm home.
That's right. So no frying bacon. So let's listen to the song. The song that they did on Barney's Army, which is also the B-side of this great single. It's called Anyone Can. And... Kitty, the bass player, is singing it, and it has a little bit more of a new wave bent to it. It's a great little song. Let's hear it now. The X-Teens, 1982, Anyone Can.
And so there's Kitty Moses singing and playing bass, and
Yes.
that was one of the reasons that I thought, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's like when it came time that they needed someone to play bass and
sing.
people and sing on occasion, and I said sure. And when we went to pick out my bass at Rhythm City in Atlanta, which was pretty daunting.
Yes.
Since I'd never held one before, I don't think. So, going to pick out the axe, and they brought out this lovely sunburst
Fender Jazz.
and it was gorgeous. And I said, there's already a girl bass player that has one that color, right? And how sophisticated I was.
Right.
So then
that one was out.
That one was out because there can't be two girl bass players with
the same
similar
color bass.
Yeah, same color bass. And of course, I think you see in the video. I don't think she's playing.
She's playing a Rickenbacker.
She's playing a Rick, right?
Must be the video bass.
Yeah. So that's how I got my lovely black and white Panda.
Yeah, you got the precision. Yeah, which has turned out to be a wonderful bass.
And it still is.
The X-Teens went on. They joined the Dolphin Records, which was the arm of Record Bar at the time, and kind of a mid-level local label.
Right. So they had
the Record Bar distribution.
And so Record Bar was a regional, Southeast regional retail record chain. So they were able, they had national distribution as well, but, to be able to do product placement in their stores for their local for their label.
They
their
had
signees.
they had an EP, and then on
The EP was released before
Right.
I think.
yeah, it was before Dolphin.
Yeah.
And then they did a really good record for Dolphin, just called The X-Teens, and they did a second record, and that was pretty much
And they
it for
broke
them.
up.
Yeah, they didn't last too long.
It was very. There was a push. They had a
They
video
were on MTV.
on MTV, which was a big deal back
Yes,
in the day
again.
when you marketed your music primarily through getting a video on MTV,
Right.
and they got a lot of airplay. They were visually exciting.
Yes.
Nice, young, attractive people,
Yes.
made for video.
Energetic
they weren't
music.
made for video,
Yeah.
but video
Yeah.
would like them.
Yeah,
And-
they had a whole thing,
Yeah.
it just didn't work out for whatever reasons, and but we'll always remember them as being a super live band,
Yeah.
being a very inventive band with some great arrangements, and really an inspiration to us.
Oh yes, and yeah,
know, like,
I guess we
with
believed
everything.
anyone could.
Yeah, anyone can,
So why the hell
So,
not,
yeah.
right?
Yep. So, who do we hear covering this song? Have we thought about that?
Oh, yeah, hey, maybe the Beef People should have covered it.
Yeah, we never did
we
do-
never thought of that. Maybe it was too hard.
You know who I would like to hear do Nothing Left to Say? Oingo Boingo.
There's a very strong strain of Oingo Boingo in there.
Yes,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
I never really.
I never really
voiced that.
identified that. Yeah, I could hear Danny Elfman singing that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Because I'm not sure about Anyone Can, but definitely Nothing Left to Say with Oingo Boingo. So, do we have a recommendation?
Persons, places, or things.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to go with place because
Okay.
they were a Durham band.
Yes.
And Durham,
Kind of the redheaded stepchild, right?
definitely the redheaded stepchild of the Triangle area. Raleigh with the seat of government.
Right. And Raleigh had the brewery, and
Yeah, and Chapel Hill certainly
The Cradle.
has the great live venue. The Cradle still in existence, still a great live venue.
And there was that whole period where the Chapel Hill was going to be the next.
Right, the next
Athens, right, yeah.
But to be from Durham, and Durham really struggled back in the 80s. There were clubs that opened and closed, and there was like a deli that had live bands. I mean, it was hard for. You didn't have a local club if you're a band from Durham. You had to
Right.
I mean, it sounds silly to it wasn't a local club. It was Chapel Hill,
Right.
since they're less than 10 miles apart. But they were never. They never pretended not to be from Durham.
Right.
And people were ugly about Durham. And people still are ugly about Durham.
So, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is give Durham some love. I mean, it's very popular.
Give it a hug.
Love your Durham. I'm a longtime Durham lover here. So,
Yep.
a hat tip to old school, old Durham folk doing good.
Yes. And as somebody who's not from or doesn't live here, I have to say it's always fun to come visit, and it's a great place, and it's just got a really good vibe.
That being said, we have enough people. So visit, but
don't move here.
return to your own environs.
So my recommendation also involves Durham. It's a restaurant that we ate at a couple of days ago, and it's an Indian food place.
Like fast food, like
It's kind of cafeteria style Indian.
cafeteria, exactly.
And it's called Curry Point Express. It's kind of out the RTP area, but it's the address is Durham, and you can get three meat or three entrees and rice and everything, and it's like $10.
Pakora.
Yeah, it's amazing food. You can tell when you go in. It just smells so great. We went there and ate the other night, and we had plenty of leftovers for another meal the next day, and the food was just great. I got the Vindaloo, and it made my nose run.
Just like you want.
Yes,
right? That's
exactly.
a sign of a good Vindaloo.
It is. It was hot, and the poor guy behind the counter was like, "Oh, this is spicy. This is hot."
I don't like your chances, boy.
I was like, I'll do it. And he was like, "You're a crazy man." And but the food was very good. Curry Point Express is my recommendation. And I think that's about it for today.
Huh?
This has been Singles Going Steady 036. We were talking about the great Durham band, the X-Teens, and their single from 1982, Nothing Left to Say and Anyone Can. Great stuff. Great band. Good single. We'll put all the links up, and we will talk to you again very soon.
To learn more about the artists and recordings we just talked about, visit our website at zubrecords.com and click on the Singles Going Steady icon.
You'll also find links to the persons, places, and things we recommend, and much more.
You can find episodes of Singles Going Steady on our website or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Singles Going Steady is brought to you by the power and majesty of Zub Records.
Zub Records. Smart sounds for sharp people.
Today